Hello guys, well it's Troy Francis and we are out and about in central London enjoying the sunshine. What a beautiful day. And I wanted to do a quick video talking about why you shouldn't get too attached too quickly, basically. And it seems kind of crazy that this even needs to be said, but it really does. And some of you may not believe it, but you probably don't coach loads of guys like I do, so you don't really understand what's happening out there. And the reality is that there's a certain type of guy who just doesn't have a lot of experience with women, right? Doesn't have a lot of luck with women. Maybe hasn't been in that many relationships, or maybe he's been in a couple and it's been a little while and he's trying to get back on the horse again as far as dating is concerned. Okay, fine, whatever. That's no shame. That's fantastic. You know, we're all at different places in this journey and that's all good. But what can happen is that that sort of a guy can meet somebody, you know, he meets a girl, he goes out and about, maybe he goes out in the evening, he's at a club, he's at a bar, he meets somebody who's nice, they get on, they go on a date, they end up getting intimate, she touches his pee-pee, and then all of a sudden he gets incredibly emotionally invested in the whole thing, okay? And the message of the video today is basically just to say, don't do that. You know, just don't do that. It's not the right way to operate. What you've got to realize is that there are rules out there. You know, there are rules in the world of casual dating. And I mean, one of the rules is that people just don't get too emotionally invested until such time as you guys have sat down and you've had a conversation about exclusivity and you kind of know it's on. Then obviously it's different, all right? And maybe you don't even need to have that conversation so much if you guys fall into a pattern where you're seeing each other several times a week or once or twice a week or whatever, and you know, maybe you haven't verbally addressed it yet, but you kind of sense that, you know, she's off the dating apps, you're off the dating apps, you guys have got something, it's clearly a regular thing, right? Then okay, that's different. You know, you can start to let the guard down a little bit, you can start to invest over time somewhat more emotionally in that person, okay? And that's just the natural order of things. That's how relationships work, generally speaking, in the West, in the modern day, right? We don't get married immediately. We don't get married on the first date, but over a period of time, we start to drop our guards. We start to get to know each other a little bit more. We start to become a little bit more vulnerable, and it becomes a thing. It becomes a relationship, all right? But what you absolutely don't want to do is, through scarcity and through a lack of other options and frankly a lack of knowledge and a lack of, I would say, emotional control, just immediately that you meet someone and she's willing to be intimate with you once or twice, you lose all rationality and you lose all common sense and you just become hugely overly invested in this person. And it might be even that you live in different cities, you live in different countries. I've seen this happening. I know clients that this has happened to in recent times, you know? And it's just a very bad position to put yourself in. I mean, look, as a guy, okay, so here's how it should go, all right, in modern dating. This is a quick primer, modern dating 2024. Here's how it should go, okay? You are the guy. You are going out there, you're being super social the whole time, you're meeting loads of new people, you might be using the apps as well, you might be doing some stuff, you know, on Instagram or using the dating apps or whatever. You're also going out and about, you're being super social, so in the daytime, if you see somebody you like, you're having a conversation, you're getting a phone number, you're getting her Instagram. At night, the same thing. And maybe there's a little bit of social circle in there as well. Okay, so you've got those pipelines and you're bringing new people in the whole time. You know, you're not that they're all going to fall in love with you or you're going to fall in love with them, but you know, you're meeting new women all the time in a just a very casual, kind of normal, calibrated way, okay? You are then messaging them and some of them are falling by the wayside, others you're going to take out on dates and you're going to get to know them, and then some of those are also going to fall by the wayside, and others, you know, you're going to have a chemistry with her, it's going to lead to something else, maybe you guys get intimate, whatever, okay? And the idea is not to immediately throw all your chips in with the first person who's nice to you and who seems to like you, okay? You've got to hold back a little bit, and this is not even a tactic. I'm not even now talking about this as a tactic for how to make her like you or make her stay and not ghost you and stuff. It's not even about that. It's for your own self-protection, right? Your own emotional self-protection. You've got to be a little bit, you've got to hold your cards close to your chest a little bit for a period of time. The other thing as well is that the truth is you don't know her, okay? You've been dating for 2 weeks, you've been dating for like a month, or maybe she lives in a different country, so you met up with her for a week last summer, and then you met up with her for a week in January, okay? You don't really, even if you're messaging every day, you don't really know this person, you don't really know this woman, okay? So it's just foolish at those nascent stages in these things, you know, before the rose has fully blossomed, right, and it's still a bud. It's just stupid, quite frankly, to think that it's more than it is, okay? This is the problem, you know. It's imagining, building this thing up in your mind to be more than it is, okay? It's very, very damaging, and you really lay yourself open to getting hurt, because once again, you know, you don't know her really, right? You don't really know what's going on in the background. You don't really know what makes her tick. You don't really know what she's thinking, what her intentions are, if there are other people in the frame. You don't know any of that stuff, okay? And so you are falling in love with what's basically a product of your own imagination, okay? Now, I'm bringing this up because a client was talking to me about exactly this earlier this week, and we were discussing it, and he made the point that the recent boot camp event that we did over in Colombia, he was saying that a lot of the guys who were on that boot camp met women there and sort of fell into this trap of making them semi-girlfriends for a period of time, and then getting very wound up about it and sort of butthurt and emotionally kind of invested in these women. And if that happened, the reason that it happened is that those guys, you know, and all great guys, decent guys, well put together, etc., but they fundamentally lack options, okay, or they think that they lack options. And so it's very easy at that stage to, as I said, you know, she's nice to you, she gets into bed with you, she wants to spend time with you, and you kind of just fall in love with her effectively, or at least you build the thing up in your brain. It's like, oh my god, it was this amazing romance. It really fucking wasn't. You know, I don't want to be harsh, but it really fucking wasn't. Not in her mind, okay? In her mind, it's like, yeah, I'm having fun, this dude, he's some tourist, I kind of spent some time with him, whatever. You know, she's not thinking about it in that light, probably, okay, for the most part. She's not really thinking about it in that light, and you shouldn't be either. Now, that's not to say that you can't get there with her, okay? And it's not to say that you can't make plans in order to, you know, try to make that happen, right? Try to bring you guys closer together. You can do that if you want to do that, you know, but you've got to then arrange to see her again. You've got to start to, you know, if she's living in the same city, you've got to start to see her a bit more frequently. I would really, really recommend again sitting down and having the conversation with her, saying, right, so are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Because that's lame. You know, ideally she should be pushing for that, not you. But you can certainly, through your actions, remember, show not tell, right, is super powerful, right? You can certainly, through your actions, you can sort of indicate that you are open to this. You know, you want to spend more time with her. She's more than just a fuck buddy, okay? This is what happened with my girlfriend, actually. You know, at the beginning we were quite casual, and then over time it became something of greater substance because we were spending more time together. We realized that we actually liked each other's company. It wasn't just a purely physical thing. There was more to it than that. And then, you know, you come to a mutual understanding of like, okay, right, where are we now? But it has to be mutual, and it's gonna take time, okay? It's gonna take time. It's not just something that you've met, you've hooked up a couple of times, right, bang, here we are, we're in a fucking full-on relationship. It's just stupid, okay? And as I say, I see this happening a lot with guys who are quite new to this stuff, who maybe, you know, their success rate hasn't been that high. They feel like they don't really have options, they don't have abundance, and it's sad, quite frankly, and they end up a lot of the time just getting hurt, getting fucked over, not getting the outcomes that they want to get, okay? And is it preventable? You know, there's two arguments for this, really. We kind of think that emotion, in popular culture, there's an idea that emotion is this thing that just overwhelms us. It's like, I was overwhelmed by love, I was overwhelmed by emotion, I couldn't do anything about it, I just got swept away, right? And men and women think this, you know? Men and women both will say, oh, you know, it just happened and I was head over heels and he came and swept me off my feet and, you know, all of that stuff. That's one way of looking at it. That's one lens through which to look at it. But another lens through which to look at it is, no, this is a decision. Falling in love or becoming emotionally invested with somebody is kind of a decision that you make, all right? It's within your purview to make that decision or to not make that decision. And what you've got to do is toughen up a little bit at the beginning and make the decision not to do that. You know, you make the decision to think, all right, yeah, we hooked up, we spent some time together, it was great, I like her, she's a cool person, you know, maybe if the circumstances were right, she's the kind of person I could see dating or getting into a relationship with, but you know, we're not there yet, and that's how it is, I accept that. So I'm gonna carry on living my life, I'm gonna keep the door open for her, we're gonna see what happens, but at the same time, I'm not gonna go a million miles an hour in my head and start planning our wedding or whatever. I mean, that's very feminized behavior, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, this is what stereotypically women are meant to do. You know, it's like, oh, we went on the date and now I'm planning the wedding and I'm trying to figure out our baby names for our kids. You don't want to be doing that as a guy, okay? You really don't want to be doing that as a guy. You've got to fucking be rational about it. You've got to keep it in perspective. It's like, no, we had a good time. We are having a good time. But it doesn't mean more than what it says on the tip, okay? It doesn't have this huge significance. I don't need to be texting her 24/7. I don't need to be fabricating this whole kind of thing, this whole narrative between the two of us, which doesn't really exist and doesn't need to exist at this stage, okay? So I think all I'm cautioning you to do is keep things in perspective, right? Don't be a tool who gets carried away, okay, at the first sign of emotion. And what you have to do as well is recognize, even if you don't feel like you've got abundance, okay, because you haven't had a date in 10 years and then suddenly you're with this girl and oh my God, it's wonderful. Even if that's the case, intellectually, you need to tell yourself, no, I do have abundance. I absolutely do have abundance because there are 7 billion people in the world, 8 billion people in the world. You know, if I was to set out to meet all the women on the planet who were attracted to me, I wouldn't be able to do it in my lifetime, okay? That's the reality. The reality is, whether you believe it or not, you actually do have abundance, okay? So you've got to, even if you have to do it intellectually, remind yourself intellectually, you have to lean into that and you have to tell yourself that and you have to fucking believe it, okay? And, you know, some relationships flourish and they become something of weight and gravity and beauty and celestial wonder, and others frankly don't. Others, you know, you see her for a couple of months and she ends up sleeping with the postman, and that's okay, right? You know, but the trick is not to get prematurely embroiled in something that was never really going to go anywhere anyway. Okay, so a little bit of a pep talk. I hope this makes sense. For some of you guys, this is going to be very obvious stuff, but there are men out there who really need to hear this message. So, as I say, I hope it's helped somebody. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We've got a bunch of cool events coming up, which are listed below in the description box. So if you're interested in some in-person coaching, which you bloody well should be, then drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.